Hi, this is Mrs. Kidman, and in this video, we are going to be discussing how we can use the distributive property to expand out these little polynomials here. So the distributive property means that we're going to take a number from the outside, and we're going to multiply it in to the inside of a set of parentheses. So when we do that, whatever's on the outside is going to go to every single thing in the parentheses. If there's one thing, it goes to just one. If there's two, it goes to two. If there's 10, it would go to all 10. So what we do is we just multiply the outside numbers. If there are any variables, you're going to add those exponents together. So let's take a look at this one. 8 times 6n. Well, 8 times 6 is 48. And then we just throw our n on there. Then we would do our 8 times negative 6. So a positive times a negative is a negative. And 8 times 6 is 48. So we end up with 8n minus 48. Now, when you use the distributive property, after you finish, you want to make sure you don't have any like terms that need to be combined together. So I want to check, do I have any other just n's? No, we're good. Awesome. Do I have any other constants or ones without a variable? No? Great. So then our answer will just stay right here. So let's take a look at this next one. It'll look very similar. So we're going to do our negative 8 times 1, which is negative 8. Our negative 8 times 7k, negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. And then we pop our little k on there. Now, because that negative 8 and that k are not, they can't be combined together, we can leave it there. However, we typically like to write it in what is called standard form. So standard form is when we write it from highest exponent into lowest exponent. So we are going to look at how many of each things we have. So looking at this number 2 here, our negative 8 has no k's, but our negative 56 has 1k. So we actually want to write this piece first. So we'd write negative 56k minus 8. And then we'll leave it there. You can see on that first one, that piece with the n came first already, so we didn't have to rearrange it. Now, it's not wrong to not rearrange it, but we're going to want to do that just because it makes things easier later. So let's go ahead and take a look at another one. I want you to go all the way down to question number 9. So as you look at question number 9, you can see that it's got two pieces. It's got that distributive property, but it also has something else at the end. So what we want to do here is we want to use that distributive property, and then we'll combine our like terms. So I've got negative 5 times negative 3n. Well, negative 5 times negative 3 is going to give us a positive 15n. Then we'll take our negative 5 and multiply it by negative 4. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 5 times 4 is 20. Then this plus 2 is on the outside, so our negative 5 does not get distributed in to that. So it's going to be negative 5 times these two, but our plus 2 just goes on the end. Now we want to look, is there anything that we can combine together here? So I've got this 15n, which there are no other n's, so I'll just write it as it is. I've got a 20 and I've got a 2. So 20 plus 2 is 22. So you can see how we just add those together. So on question number 10, it would be that exact same idea. You would do 10 times x and get 10x. Then we would do 10 times 10 to get 100. Then our minus 8 is on the outside here, so we just do minus 8x. Now we want to combine the ones that look like. So I've got a 10x, I've got a minus 8x, 10 minus 8 is going to give me 2x, and then I'll add 100. And we can leave it right there. Now, number 11 is very similar, but it looks a little bit different. So do you see how that 7n comes first here rather than being a little bit later, right? So in this one, we've got that 7n first. So what we're going to distribute is just this piece right here. So we're going to do negative 9 times 1, which gives us a negative 9. We've got negative 9 times negative 7n, which is a positive 63n. And then our 7n guy here will come out to the front just like they were. Now we want to combine the ones that look like. So we've got a 7n and a positive 63n. 7 plus 63 is 70n. And then we have our minus 9 because that one couldn't combine. So you can kind of see how we just use that distributive property again. Now, what I want you guys to do is flip to the back side of your worksheet here, and we're going to look at number 17 and number 18. Now, I know these ones look crazy. There's a lot of parentheses. There's a lot of things. But on both of these ones, all you need to do is treat it just like we were doing the other ones. So these ones just have a double set of distributive property. So we're going to distribute that first number here, and then we'll distribute the second number to the second set of parentheses. So negative 7 times r is negative 7r. Negative 7 times 5 is negative 35. Then we've got 10 times 3r, which will give us a plus 30r. And 10 times 4, which gives us a plus 40. Now we want to combine together the pieces that look alike. So we're going to start with our r's. I've got a negative 7r and I've got a 30R. Negative 7 plus 30 is going to be 23R. Don't be afraid to use your calculator to calculate these things, right? A calculator is a tool, not a hindrance. Then we've got our negative 35 and our positive 40. So negative 35 plus 40 gives us a positive 5. So you can see how on these ones, we just do that distributive property twice. So let's take a look at one more example of this. So 6 times 9 is going to be not 63. Oof, I can do math. 6 times 9 is going to be 54p. 6 times negative 8 is going to be negative 48. We're going to distribute this with that negative there. So negative 10 times 1 is negative 10. And negative 10 times negative p, really when there's no number there, remember there's a 1. So what's negative 10 times negative 1? It's going to be a positive 10p. So every time you distribute with these second steps here, you want to make sure you distribute that negative with it. So you're going to end up doing that on question number 19 here as well. And you can also see that it can be done on some of these other ones that we've done here. That negative 9 up here, we did the same thing. So we want to distribute that whole piece. So coming back to our question here, we want to be able to combine terms. So as we look at our terms to combine together here, I've got a 54p and a positive 10p. 54p plus 10p is 64p. Then I've got a negative 48 and a minus 10. If I have 48 negatives and 10 more negatives, I end up with a negative 58. And that is where we're going to leave our answer. So that's how we can use the distributive property. It allows us to expand things out and then combine terms together. So you can see how this 23R plus 5 looks way simpler than what we started with. And that's the purpose of it. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And that is how you can use the distributive property.